Hey, I got a question for you. Would you find it be helpful to have a brief self-check tool, a tip that you can use just to learn to quickly pay attention in a helpful way to what's going on? Well, I've got a guest today with me, Trevor Hermann, who's going to help us out with that. So this is Eddie with a Mindful Emergence, where Margaret and I offer simple steps, simple tips that you can use for self transformation using mindfulness, movement, and breathing practices. So, today, as I mentioned, I'm joined by Trevor Hermann, who is a licensed clinical mental health counselor here in the Asheville area. And Trevor has lived here since 2007. He's married, he's got two sons. Trevor picked up his initial degree at ASU quite a while ago and spent several years working with teens who struggled with a wide range of concerns. But after moving to North Carolina, he entered the counseling program at Western Carolina University, graduated with an MS in clinical counseling in 2012. And since then, he's worked with a wide range of clients, many different settings, responding primarily to mental health and substance use crisis situations. And this included supervising several adult outpatient programs in Haywood County prior to starting his private practice in late 2021. He's trained in EMDR and puts a lot of emphasis on mindfulness. So welcome to our channel, Trevor. Good morning.
Good morning, Eddie. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's great having you here. So I gave people a promise, and we're all about simple things, things that you can do just throughout the day when you're busy, maybe when you're stressed. So a simple self-check tool. I'm really curious because I'm always learning. We're trying to.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that openness to trying new things. And what I would say first is that we can't make any change in ourselves if we're not aware of what's happening. And so I think all of us can relate to having a busy day where we're working really hard at whatever task we have in front of us. And a coworker may ask us, "How are you doing?" And without even thinking, we say, "I'm fine." But maybe we're not, because oftentimes we're ignoring what's happening inside of ourselves so that we can try to be more productive and get through the task at hand. And the irony, of course, is that if we ignore our needs, we may become less productive as the day goes on, because we may have needs that are speaking up and that may slow us down. And so one version of a brief check-in that I like to use with clients is based off of an old AA acronym, which is HALT, H-A-L-T. And it stands for hungry, angry, lonely, and tired. And so the way I teach this is if someone is noticing, "Hey, I'm a little out of sorts," or "I've read this email 3 times and I'm having a hard time grasping what it's actually saying," or I notice that my coworker is looking daggers at me because I just gave them an irritable response, I might stop myself. I might go to a place that's private, like the restroom or my office, and close the door. And I'm going to take as deep a breath as I can and just notice how deeply I can get it. And that's just a brief diagnostic, because when I'm anxious, I tend to breathe up here under my collarbones, and it's shallow. And it may be a little more rapid, but when I'm at peace and when I'm feeling grounded and stable, I can breathe into my belly, like we notice a young child breathes into their belly and their belly just inflates like a little balloon with each breath. And so I just check in briefly with my breath, and I just notice. And I breathe out. And then I ask myself, am I hungry? And really, essentially what I'm asking myself is, are my physical needs being met? And it may not just be hunger. For me personally, it's almost always hunger. I have to eat every 2 hours, a little bit, in order to keep functioning at a level that I appreciate. But I may be cold. I may be hot. I may be absolutely uncomfortable from having hunched over my computer. So I'm simply asking myself,
Maybe thirsty.
are my physical needs being met? When I ask myself, am I hungry? And then I ask myself, am I angry? And what I'm really asking, are there powerful emotional needs that are not being attended to right now, that are drawing away my attention and impairing my ability to be fully present? And if there are, I'm going to try to attend to them in an appropriate way. And I may not be able to fully attend to them in the moment if I'm at work, but I could at least pay attention and know that they're affecting me. And then I ask myself, am I lonely? Because humans need connection. We may have this narrative inside ourselves that's fed by society that I'm a strong individual and I don't need connection. But it turns out that's false. We all need connection. And when we feel out of connection with those that we love, we start to struggle. And that struggle shows up in a lot of different ways, but it can show up as increased anxiety, decreased attention, decreased memory, poor sleep. It can show up in a lot of different ways. So if I notice that I'm feeling disconnected from my loved ones, maybe I can take a small step towards reconnecting, even if it's just sending a quick text message to just let someone know that I'm thinking of them. Maybe even that small connection could help me in the moment. And the last question I ask is, am I tired? And this links back to, are my physical needs being met? But more specific, because humans need sleep. It's not a maybe, it's an absolute need. In all the years that I responded to mental health crises, I never once, not a single time, met with a well-rested person. Whether they were depressed, they were manic, they were psychotic, suicidal, whatever it was, they had all been lacking sleep. And I think any new parent could relate to how distressing it is to all of a sudden have the sleep turned down in their life. And so I asked myself, am I well rested? Am I tired? And if I am tired, I probably can't take a nap at work, but what I can do is adjust my expectations and recognize that I may not be showing up with my A game today. I may not be 100% today, so I'm going to take extra attention this evening to put down my phone a couple hours before bed, to eat a meal that's easy on my stomach, to not have any alcohol, to not have any cigarettes if possible, and to really attend to getting better sleep tonight so that I can show up differently tomorrow. And so this tool is really one to be used in 1 to 2 minutes. I'm not asking someone to take 10 minutes out of their workday to hide in the bathroom and do a mini meditation. I'm really asking, go splash some water in your face and ask yourself some simple questions and see where you are.
And a lot of people work from home. I was working with a fellow who online who lived in Austin, and he said that during the course of his day, he would get more and more stressed, and by the end of the day, he had these headaches, and he was really, and he was like you, had his young children, and he would get really irritable. And I said, "Do you ever stop and pause?" So I invited him to take 5 minutes every hour and just pause and breathe. Now that's 5 minutes. You're only talking about a couple of minutes.
Just talking about a couple minutes. And really, this is a diagnostic tool to really inform me or someone else. Are there steps that I could take to help myself out? So if in the 2 minutes it takes to do this little exercise, I realize that I do need to have a snack, then I can go pick up some crackers, or I can pick up a granola bar or a piece of fruit and have my snack and expect that I'm probably going to rebound relatively soon.
Yeah. So we're talking about self-care. And I do want to point out that you're a licensed mental health professional, and some of you guys aren't very good at this. I presented at a conference about 3, 4 months ago with other professionals, and to a person, they were all burnt out because they weren't practicing this.
Well, that is a challenge, especially in community mental health. There is kind of a culture in community mental health of work until you are incapable almost of any further work.
Yeah.
And I will say I'm very grateful for having worked in wilderness therapy as my first mental health job, because self-care, even though that was grueling, vigorous, rigorous work, self-care was built into the training, and it was also built into the curriculum for the kids.
And of course, a lot of people like you, you may say, well, I'm only going to meet with so many clients. And then someone reaches out to you in need, and you're thinking, oh, this person, I could really help them. Should I say no? All right, well, I said I was only going to have X amount, but we'll make it X plus 1. And the next thing you know, it's X plus 5. and your self-care needs are not being met. So this message goes out to everybody, including those of us who try to support others in their own healing and wellness. So
Absolutely.
yeah. So these are great tips, so simple. And I think the point is obvious. The more we do this, the more we're prone to remember to do this. So
Hmm.
it start like opening new pathways, new habits like, okay, oh yeah, let me do the halt thing. Yeah, let me pause and do this check-in. And it just starts becoming more ingrained, I think, wouldn't you say?
I would say so. And again, that goes back to what I started with. We can't make any change in ourselves unless we're aware of it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, Trevor, this is fantastic. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, I know you're going to post my website up on
Hmm.
this recording. My website also has links to my professional Facebook as well as my YouTube channel.
All right, great. Yeah, and I've seen some of your videos. They're really good. Good stuff. Very basic, very clear, informative videos. So, yeah, you can subscribe to the channel.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Eddie.
And having said that, those of you watching this, if you like this video, give us a thumbs up, a like, and go ahead and subscribe to the Mindful Emergence channel and hit that bell so that you get future videos like this that can help you moving forward. So thanks very much, Trevor, for joining us today. And thanks to all of you out there for watching.
Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate it.
Yeah.